Hello, and welcome to the brimagine rules video. Brimagine is a two-player storytelling game that can turn any idea into gameplay. Maybe you like world building or game design, or you want to live in a world from one of the stories you like. Then this is the game for you. First, you're going to need some starter sheets, which can be found on othilbrim.com. We'll go over the starter sheets, and then we'll go over an example match. The first two things you'll find on the starter sheet are your signatures. Your primary signature is your main character. It's going to be their job to complete a goal in your story, and completing that goal is how you win. Your secondary signature is a support for your main character. This can be another character, or an item, or vehicle, or whatever. Then you've got your setting, where the story takes place. To create the setting for your match, you can either combine two different settings from your different starter sheets, you and the other player, or you could just use one of your settings, or you can use, bits and pieces of the two. Now that you have your setting, decide a player to go first. There are 3 story turns in brimagine, and then a climax. The climax has unique rules, but in the storytelling turns, you can do as much as you like. You can do whatever you want to. The only thing you can't do is decide the actions of the other player's signature, but you can affect the other player's signatures. So you can attack them, or you can push them and pull them, or talk to them, but you just can't make decisions for them. So I can't make the other player's main character just fall down for no reason. Each of your signatures has an ability. Your signature's ability is like a special move, something that only they can do. Make sure to check the conditions for your ability before using them, because some of them are a little bit complicated. On the climax, you can act and you can move. Moving means going from point A to point B, where acting either means using your signature ability or doing something while remaining in place, such as throwing a rock, or mixing pancake batter, or pushing a button. Whereas on the storytelling turns, you can do as much as you like. On the climax is your final turn, and you can only do one action and one movement. But you can do those in either order. So you can move then act, or you can act then move, or you can just act or just move. To win, you must complete your goal on the climax and stop your opponent from completing their goal on their climax. You can work towards your goal on your story turns, but you can't complete your goal before your climax. Some other things you will find on your signature's descriptions are their guiding principle and signature weakness. Your guiding principle is like a rule that your character must follow, something that makes them who they are. So if their guiding principle says they hate swimming and love ice cream, then they will try to avoid water, but they will always run towards an ice cream stand. Your signature weakness is a limitation that you must follow. So it's a rule that you have to do, whereas there's a bit more leeway with your guiding principle. There are some extra assets below on your starter sheets that will just help you fill out your world if you need it. If your character dies, then you replace them with a new main character, and that character inherits all of the progress towards the previous character's goal, as well as their signature abilities, weaknesses, guiding principle, and so on. You cannot create inescapable prisons because that's not fair. And those are all the rules. So now we can get on to our example match. A handy thing to have when playing brimagine is a tracker for turns, because you might think you have an extra story turn before your climax, but then you realize you don't, so you have to work with just one action left, and that's not great. There's a turn tracker at the bottom of the screen, so you can keep track of where we are in the match. I have chosen to use the Office Hero and Dragon Horde signatures for this example. Normally there'd be a second player when playing, but I will just be doing both players. The goals I went with for the Office Hero was save someone with the power of flight, and for Dragon Horde I went for steal someone's second signature and be in possession of both players' second signatures on the climax. So let's get into it. I'm going to make the setting the Dragon's Cave. Office Hero is going first, turn 1, and I think it'd be funny if the office worker, Joe Smithington, was an accountant for the dragon, and he is counting all of the coins on the dragon's back. And he counts them all up while the dragon is snoozing, and he concludes there are 9,999. Upon hearing this unsatisfying number, the dragon, Hordehide dragon, is going to be dissatisfied with this amount of wealth, and then realizes that she has paid Joe Smithington 1 coin in order to count all the coins she has, and that's what did it for her, and she gets rather angry. So now it's back to Joe Smithington's turn, second story turn. Joe Smithington is scared of the big bad dragon and runs out of the dragon cave and straight off a cliff. Because he's fallen, his tie wraps around his eyes and his suit jacket falls off, so he looks like a different person, I guess. This is important for this signature because he's supposed to do good things without other people noticing. That's his guiding principle. But then he is saved by his second signature, which are the Wings of Fate. They attach to him and he flies up. He flies straight up to the cliff just outside of the cave that he ran off. Hordehide Dragon then sees these wings and is like, oh, fancies the wings for herself because she doesn't actually have any wings. And as a dragon, those are kind of important. So she uses her signature ability to make a trade of second signatures, takes the wings off of the Office Hero, and gives him her enchanted sword. Hordehide Dragon's like, oh, these wings suit me perfectly, because that's part of the wings description. They can suit the wearer and change their appearance. Because he doesn't have the wings anymore, Joe Smithington is going to fall, take a big plunge down. So Office Hero now has the enchanted sword, which in its description is able to pierce metal and dragonhide. So he is falling and he uses it to stab the cliff that he's falling down from. And because he was Hordehide Dragon's accountant, he knows the enchantment of the sword. He tosses it back up at the dragon and it pierces her and her wings fall right back off. Joe Smithington catches the wings and he flies very high into the sky, so Hordehide Dragon can't, stab him with the sword again. And he sees how greed has consumed her, and he gives her an ultimatum. You can have the wings, but you will have to give up all of your treasures and your enchanted sword. So now it's the dragon's third story turn. And because there's not really a way to win at this point, the dragon decides to give up the sword and agrees to the trade because she really wants the wings and longs to fly. So for Joe Smithington's climax, he moves by flying down and gives the dragon the wings. And then for the dragon's climax, she flies off with the wings as her movement, and she drops all of her coins, all of her coin scales on her back as she flies away. Which means that the office hero signatures win. Joe Smithington for the win. And that's an example match. I hope your interest is piqued by this game. It's very simple, but has a lot of potential. Usually matches take around about an hour to possibly 2 hours. That's quite rare, I've found though. Hour and a half maybe. Most interesting thing about this game though is that you can create your own characters, your own signatures, and that will be its own separate video, but you're able to turn any character or any idea you have into something playable that can play against official decks. I hope you stick around for when that video comes out. Thank you for listening.